Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So glad you're here. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. We're doing a few Halloween crafts today because it is my favorite time of the year. Here we go. Well, guys, how the heck are ya? I hope you're doing fabulous and you had a fantastic week. I'm doing pretty good. Not had a bad week, I should say, so far. So good. But today, what we're doing is two crafts. The first one is the little tiny pumpkin babies, and the second one are these little witch's legs and a decorative planter. I hope you like them. I picked up this pick of velvety pumpkins from Hobby Lobby for $6.99, less 40%. And I'm using them as the bodies for our babies, these little misfits. I found some arms to match, could not find any legs, otherwise I would have actually used them, but all I could find was the arms to match. So basically, you're going to take your babies, and I'm seeing the depth, making sure that they're going to fit in there properly. I want the head to be sticking out, so I'm kind of matching them up. So I found the two pumpkins that'll fit my little babies, and I took some wire cutters and snipped those two pumpkins off of my pick. Now I have to get these little plastic stems off of these pumpkins, and boy, are they tough to get out of there. But give them a good twist and a yank, and it works pretty good. A pair of scissors, nip around the edges there and kind of get that glue that they got on there open. And then peel back that layer of cloth. And then you're going to take a pair of scissors and kind of dig out the center there, just enough for your baby to kind of slide in there and fit snug. Be careful. I cut myself. Okay, we have a big enough hole for the baby, and I'm kind of twisting and pushing, seeing that the baby's bottom reaches, just the bottom of the pumpkin and doesn't stick out any further than that. And then I'm going to take that fabric and wrap it back up around the styrofoam pumpkin. So I'm basically just wrapping this back around. It's going to be an excess of fabric just because of the head taking up space. So you get you a pair of scissors. If you have a pair of like scissors for like sewing scissors, those would be the best to use because they're made for fabric and they cut fabric much, much better than the stinky scissors that I was using. But I'm just taking my hot glue gun and going around the top, right next to the head, using my pair of scissors and just tucking that fabric in there. And I work it all the way around until I got it all tucked in. And I got both babies done. Now, I've got my arms, and all you need to do is really figure out where you want to place them on there. Just kind of imagine in your head it's a little kid, and if they're wearing like a little pumpkin costume for Halloween where their arms would rest, and just snip with your scissors the fabric and then kind of push it in and kind of hollow it out right there. Get you some glue, some more hot glue, and stick that arm on there and kind of hold it on there for, maybe 30 seconds just to make sure it stays in the place that you want it to stay on. Now I'm gauging where I want the other arm to go and snipped it and kind of poked a hole in there again, filled it with the hot glue, and then I'm placing the arm on this side and holding it on there until it dries. Here we go. We're in the starts of a little pumpkin baby. Now, this is vintage. I don't know if you can find any kind of garland like this anymore, maybe online, possibly eBay or Amazon. It may be something that you can grab, but it's kind of got that plasticky feel to it. And I'm just taking it and cutting it way down, giving it a nice haircut because I want it to be able to fit, be the proper size for these babies. So now I'm taking my glue gun around the neck because I'm going to give her or him a little collar. And taking the orange first. This time I'm using a toothpick. And I'm getting and shoving it right up underneath that neck again. Don't worry about the long pieces and that sticking up because you can trim that later. Now I'm going over with the black, doing the same thing, just kind of shoving it right in there with that hot glue and using that toothpick. And I'll do the same thing all the way around the neck. Now, I got the scissors out, and I'm just, there's going to be some wonky pieces that are longer than others that just, you can tell who doesn't belong. So just nip those off with your scissors. And next, I'm going to make a little hat, like a party hat. I took a piece of black construction paper and made a cone to about the size that I thought would be a proper fit for my baby. And cut the tip off of it. Took a little piece of that garland again that I had trimmed down, using the toothpick, shoving it in that top hole because I want kind of a pom-pom at the top of that little party hat. And it'll match really nicely with the little collar that you have going on around the baby. Kind of tedious work, but it's worth it in the end. Then I'm going around the bottom of it with some more hot glue, and we're going to stick that on the baby's head. I always like to put them kind of like at a slight tilt, never straight on, just kind of off, off to the side a little bit. Go around the base of the hat, and we're doing the same thing. Basically pressing that up against the perimeter of the hat with your toothpick with the glue, and then pressing it down. And then we're going to take a pair of scissors again, and we're going to trim this up, shorten it up, to where it matches the other. We have a lot of excess. There you go. Now I'm adding pom-poms to the front of the hat to dress it up a little bit more. And I don't have any pom-poms that are that tiny. So what I figured to do was took this crepe paper that I had and just tear a little piece off. Use a little bit of your Elmer's all-purpose glue and just put a little dab of that on there and then kind of roll it into a ball in your fingertips. And it'll make a nice little pom-pom. And then all you're going to do is take your glue gun, put a dab of that on your hat, and place the little pom-pom you've made on there. And I made 2 of them for each hat. It's a little tedious because, your fingers are bigger and you're trying to work with this tiny stuff, but it's worth it. And I ended up putting a little bit of orange paint on the cheeks to have everything kind of match. Now, this is the second project. This is an old generic Barbie that I had when I was a kid. I pulled her legs off, and I didn't have any orange paint, so I took red and yellow and mixed them together to make kind of, I guess it's like a real burnt orange color. I took this decorative planter. It's small. I think it might have had a topiary or something like that in it years ago. And I emptied it out, took a piece of foam, cut it down to fit inside that hole, and shoved it in there. Then I basically just took a pair of snippers, wire cutters, and cut some long pieces of wire and used a little bit of hot glue to secure them inside each leg, and then poke them down into that foam. This is electrical tape, and I used a ruler and a razor blade to cut it into thin strips, because I'm going to use that on the legs and wrap it around to look like those kind of witchy leggings that you see with the stripes going around them. This portion didn't turn out too well. My son, he videotaped this for me, and he's not used to videotaping, so it's a little wonky. But he tried. He tried for his mama. So, anyways, yeah, it's a little tedious again. And basically, it's electrical tape's nice. It sticks really well. And it's just, wrapping it basically around each leg all the way to the end. Now, I have this sheet moss, and I measured it to the top here and just put a slit through it so it will go around the legs, so I could cover up that foam that I have the legs sticking in. And then I took some loose moss and just kind of shove those in around there. If you want to, you could glue it in with some hot glue. But I didn't do that. I just kind of shoved them in there. Now, the little shoes originally were yellow, but I painted them black to match. Didn't that turn out kind of cool? I think it turned out kind of cool. It's like, a miniature version of the ones that they show you on people's porches, like those big witch's legs. But, yep, here's the babies, the little babies. And I did stick something in the one's hand. It was off of a pick, a Halloween pick, and it kind of reminded me of a couple spiders. So I stuck that in that one's hand. But, yep. It took me forever to do these. And, of course, I got blisters from the glue gun, because I'm too lazy to wear gloves. And I just felt like, you lose some of your dexterity with that. But I hope you enjoyed these projects, and I really hope you try them at home. Until next time, guys, see you later.
Nope.